Taurus rising. How you doing, Taurus? This is your reading for the Pisces new moon that's happening on the 27th or 28th of February, depending on what part of the planet you're tuning in from. Here in the UK, it's going to be about 1:45 in the morning on the 28th. So that will give you an understanding of what day this new moon is showing up for you. Hello and welcome. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. All of this brings in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that want to come through. Now, this new moon is not an eclipse. Just want to say that straight off the bat. This is happening at 9 degrees and 40 minutes of Pisces. And yes, the North Node is in Pisces, and wherever the nodes are where we have eclipses. But the North Node's over at 27 degrees of Pisces, so it's really far away. So it's not a literal eclipse, but it is working with the eclipse energy. So I read for the rising signs, my lovely Tauruses. So for those of you who do not have Taurus in the first house, look to the house it does fall in your natal chart. Look to the themes of that house, and you might want to apply those themes along with all the other meaning you've got going on in the sign of Taurus to the messages that come through, because it will be as if that Taurus energy, wherever it falls in your natal chart, has now energetically moved to the first house. So when I talk about the astrology for the rising sign, it will always still link in. You just got to add on your own natal chart meaning on top of it. For example, I have Taurus in the 10th house, along with my North Node and Black Moon Lilith. So I'd apply all of that meaning to what comes through in this reading. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. So before I kick off, and my lovely Tauruses, there is a collective reading. That is the first reading that's gone out, and that's where I've broken down the astrology of this moon, the exact moment of the moon, in way more detail. Pulled collective tarot cards, really got into the more integrated and expansive intention of what this new moon's all about, and really go into the details of it. In this reading, I'm going to be focusing on the houses predominantly, and the ruler of Pisces, and what's going on with that ruler. I'm not really going to go into a lot of detail about the other astrology. That's all in the collective reading. So if you want a deeper understanding of this moon, pause this video, go watch the collective reading, then come back to see how it then, because it acts as a baseline for what's going to show up for you, my lovely Tauruses. So before, where is this happening for you? This is happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of good spirits. It's your hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances, and reaping the benefits from your 10th house, which is life path, career. Career doesn't have to be life path, it can just facilitate it. So you've got a fresh new moon happening here. What kind of intentions to set around this new moon? Well, across the board, it doesn't matter what new moon it is. I always recommend change your bed linen on the day of the new moon, because then you're bringing in that energy while you're sleeping, the fresh new energy. And so in specifics, actually before I go into that, so I'm doing something a little differently with the way that I'm shuffling the tarot. So usually I shuffle for jumpers, and I've been trying new ways of divination, and this is the North Node in Pisces energy. We're pushing into new territory, right? And what I'm really trying to establish is a sense of trust within myself that all forms of action, communication, divination, whatever it is in alignment with source, right? So it's bringing in a level of trust of trying new things. And so I'm going to be shuffling this deck while I'm talking about the astrology. We're going to get some jumpers come out, and this is going to be the pre-shuffle, giving you some, like, a bit more information about the lead up to this moon as well. And then when I finish talking about the astrology, I'm going to take 5 cards from the top of the deck. Just got the moon card pop out. It's the first time it's popped out. And so we'll get 5 cards from this deck. This is a new deck that I'm using. It came yesterday. I've always used the traditional traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck on this channel. This one is not that. This one has very sort of evocative, imaginative images on it that I'm leaning into interpreting those rather than particularly the traditional way that I would normally read the suits and all and the major arcana. So it's really allowing us to tap into that Piscean energy, and I've had a lot of fun using this deck. And so yeah, as I said, I'm going to pick 5 cards from the top of the deck, and we'll get 2 cards from 2 different oracle decks at the end. So the House of Good Spirits, intentions to set around this time. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this after the event, you can still set the intentions, and also this is going to serve you for the next 6 months up until the Pisces full moon, which will be an eclipse in Virgo season. So you're not missing out on any of the messages if you're watching this, say, a week or 2 weeks after the new moon, because it's serving that Pisces energy for the next 6 months. So elevating of your hopes and dreams with this new moon, right? Really allowing that confidence that the source can bring in miracles. I mean, if you've not caught the Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node transit series, it's in its own playlist. It's really easy to find. I cannot recommend it enough. The energy around this eclipse cycle is wild and very, very powerful. And so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It'll give you a lot of tools of how to work with this energy. And one of them is like really allowing to trust fall into the miracles and the abundance of source. And you've got this in your 11th house of hopes and dreams, good spirits. So this is really, a new intention you could set is saying, I'm open to the miracles of source to facilitate my highest, most integrated hopes and dreams. 10 of Wands as I say that. A releasing around the burden of never feeling like things are gonna be done, right? The weight of it all. That you got to do all the work. 8 of Swords, that's shown up in the pre-shuffle for almost everybody, and that is linked into Jupiter in Gemini, which I will get to, of limiting beliefs. Then we got the 8 of Pentacles, right? Of feeling like you're just constantly doing the work and not necessarily seeing things manifest. So it's also about friends, groups and alliances, bigger groups. Say you want to connect to more soul family. Say you want to be more in alignment with yourself when you're in these groups, or wanting to spend more time with groups and engage with bigger groups. Collaboration, perhaps in working together with your hopes and dreams. These can be great intentions to set around a new moon here. As well as reaping the benefits from your 10th house. And so being able to receive those benefits. So often we can get blocks in the 11th around being able to receive, predominantly because we don't necessarily value ourselves at a fundamental level truly, madly, deeply, which I'll get to because Jupiter's there in your 2nd house. This is all in alignment. Really allowing that new moon in Pisces to expand beyond your rational mind and allow the fantasy to come through, allow the dreams to come through. So another side of setting intentions with a new moon is if you're aware of those kind of more unintegrated energies, right? The wounds, the pain, the expectation, oh, I can't dream because how is it even possible? Or I've always been the scapegoat in groups. How is this ever going to change? Or everybody else gets the promotion, the pay rise and the benefits, and there's me stuck here in this feedback loop of lack. They're just sort of shaking their head as in to sort of shake that limiting belief out. So all of those things you can ask the moon, ask the sun to reveal to you so you can let go of them and work or integrate and work through however your practice is. So those are the big themes around the 11th house of activating a more integrated and expansive higher connection to your higher self in the way that you're able to hope and dream and take action around that, connecting to soul family. Perhaps part of it could be around what you do for your life path, your career, or bringing it to bigger groups, having it more accessible, which means you have more resources coming in, which means you're able to, facilitate those hopes and dreams in the 3D world. Now, Jupiter. traditionally rules Pisces, which is what I work with because that's what I've seen show up. I understand the connection to Neptune, but I find the outer planets do not want to be bound by any sign. So Jupiter, wherever Jupiter is always influencing Pisces. And Jupiter's over in the sign of Gemini, which is why I'm not surprised the 8 of Swords has come out for, I think, all but one of the signs that I've read for so far. Because that is the Jupiter and Gemini card. Jupiter is in your second house of your skills and your tools, your resources, of how you manifest and bring in regular income. It's the things that you value and how you value yourself. I got the 4 of Wands in reverse, and that's all about being able to celebrate what you've been able to achieve, right? And being able to be proud of where you are and what you're doing. And the 9 of Swords came out of like constantly worrying about what's happening and where you're going, rather than being present and in your body and enjoying what you bring to the table. So as I said, that 11th house can get blocks because of not valuing yourself, right? So it is the most important part of the second house is how you value yourself. And what you should be valuing is yourself truly, madly, deeply, unconditionally, forever and always. Now we can think we're doing that, but so often there's some stuff going on deep underneath all of those layers that it's like hard no. Right? Hard no. I am not of value. I am not worthy to receive. I'm not worthy to connect. I'm not worthy to dream. And that is a big conditioning of the dense matrix that we have been born into around scarcity. Oh, I'm getting rage come through my body. It's not often I get that. It's scarcity, fear, competition. Right? Okay, all of that stuff. So, Jupiter is influencing this moon of saying, I've got the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Cups. Love that. You knowing your own passion, your power, you moving through the world from a place of love. I've got the 7 of Swords. I really like this for this reading in terms of like moving to this castle of dreams, right? Being able to get there up through this pathway with this 7 of Swords. So Jupiter is influencing this moon, and Jupiter wants you to feel confident in yourself, wants you to have belief in yourself, faith in yourself. It wants you to expand, and it wants you to integrate and therefore expand and bring a deeper wisdom into yourself. And so Jupiter, is going to be elevating your understanding of your own value. It's going to be providing a level of expansion around your skills and your tools, which is going to lead to a confidence in how you walk the talk and how you value yourself. So this is all funneling into the 11th on a very sort of more material level. This could see you getting more regular income. That's helping you. Got the Hermit card. A deep inner wisdom within yourself being integrated. So Jupiter can bring opportunities, can bring experiences around getting more regular income, around the confidence within yourself. There's all funneling into your capacity to manifest those hopes and dreams. Now Mercury, 6 of Pentacles, rebalancing. Coming out of scarcity. Mercury rules Gemini. So Mercury is influencing what's going on with Jupiter and therefore influencing this moon, and Mercury's in Pisces. So this is what's called mutual reception. Mercury and Jupiter are in each other's realms, right? They are basically psychically hotlined with each other. They're facilitating each other's journey. They're elevating each other's journey as they wander through each other's realms. So there's a feedback loop between these two houses with this moon that's going to be imprinted for the next 6 months. And they're ruling the whole chart. So they're pulling all the energy of everybody else into these two houses, into these two signs. Oh, that Knight of Cups again. That was twice. That is very much being in the flow state. Got the Death card and the 7 of Cups, which is about releasing more sort of shadow aspects. So, that night. Oh, we got the Page of Cups. Sorry, I apologise. Page of Cups again. Okay, so that's all we're going to go into. There's so much going on with this new moon, but I'm going to try and keep this short So 1444 as we switch over to 1, 2, 3, and we are go. Ishalama doela dishalemo doela dishana dofala dianima. Okie dokie. So we have at the center, this is the core intention of this new moon. So this is the frequency around you over the next 6 months and the intention behind it. It's going to unfold over the next 6 months. Here we have what's being cleared out before this new moon. What cycle is closing out with the new moon. Doesn't have to be negative. It can just be something that you're integrating. This is the root energy to the core intention, crown energy for the core intention, and how to work with that core intention. So let's get into it. So what is at the core intention for you, my lovely Tauruses? We have the sun. This is wild. Pisces got this in the same position. There's been lots of overlaps with all of the signs so far. The synchronicities have been wild. And I was shuffling that for the whole 15 minutes. This is the sun. This is you with this vitality, the vision, the clarity, the abundance, feeling good, the freedom, the liberation. As you walk along your path, you've got all the resources that you need in order to create your own life, right? Rather than being limited. And these feel like little acorns here. Actually, no, I was getting another message with this one. These look like little pellets that come from certain animals, from their certain orifices of them, and you're stepping over it. You're not stepping in that anymore, right? Then that feels linked into your own sense of value. They're just but the thumb behind the sun, and they brought it into the heart space and up into the head. And they're doing stuff around the throat chakra. This is your capacity to perceive reality, right? And what you're drawn to, right? What the light draws you towards is not standing in that stuff anymore. Not feeling like there's something deep inside that may have created situations. We create our own reality. I know that can be really triggering, but the more you step into that autonomy at the moment, the power of you being able to create your reality is going to magnify, right? When we just accept it and then figure out, okay, well, what's the reality that I want? There have been certain experiences your soul wanted to understand in order to get to a stronger sense of your own value. And that can have been like feeling like you're in the muck, right? Feeling that, okay, so if someone's covered in this stuff, right, they may be rejected from the group. They may be seen as, not a honorable part of society. Well, the 11th house is very groupthink, right? It's all nonsense though, but although they don't deserve the pay rise, they don't deserve their hopes and dreams to manifest, right? So really being in that space, but you're stepping over that. And there's so much in this magical sack of you following your own light, right? And seeing very clearly your own value. It's like you're not getting the scraps anymore when you're hanging out in the pig pen. I don't know why I'm feeling called to talk about that, but I am, right? You're not part of, it's I think the message is clear. I'm not going to focus so much on that. It's a very natural thing for all of us to do. Okay, so this is what's being released. We have the 4 of Wands, and that did actually wink at me a couple of times in the pre-shuffle. And so there's this 4 of Wands. So this is a very new deck for me, so I've not seen all of this, and I'm really trying to lean into what comes through with this of, I did mention it. It was about you not being able to celebrate the work that you've done. But I was leaning more into the Rider-Waite energy. So let's really lean into what's being released is this. Okay, so they're in a dark forest, right? They're able to move through it. They're protected through it, but there is this element of being in that space, right? Of having to go through the labyrinth for a while. Look at all those little mushrooms. Because if you compare that to the sun, right, the clarity feels like you've been very protected during this journey, but it doesn't mean that it hasn't felt that you've been submerged. And it feels like you've had to go. I really love the mycelium network. The mushrooms are our alien overlords, right? Let's forget the aliens running around in their spaceships. These are the guys that, you know, created us, so we give them food. And elevate our consciousness. If you know, you know. That yeah, what I'm feeling is you're being guided by these figures, right? And you've been taken through the trials and tribulations, right? The Four of Wands is often about the harvest, right? And you've got to do the certain trials and tribulations to get to the harvest. Now, with this card, I don't feel like the harvest energy is there. It's simply putting things instinctively into action and having to go through certain hurdles. And if you see here, this figure is kind of got the same coloring as the mushrooms of the new life, of the new creativity. It is emerging, but there is this sense of the lightness in the dark that you've kept on going, right? You kept on going, you kept on doing what you know you needed to do, but it wasn't necessarily that you were seeing the results. It feels like you've been collecting things during that process, but it's not necessarily seeing the full manifestation of it, because there's movement there, so it's a transitory energy. And now all those mushrooms are in your rucksack. You're no longer in the darkness. There is a sense of vitality in your energy because you've gone through this experience. Now, at the root energy, what do we have? We have, I believe this is the Page of Pentacles. So this is at the root of you. It's quite an interesting image here, but they've got these two bags of coins. They're filled with things. There's two images now where you've got sacks, right, of resources, right, whether that's the metaphysical or the physical. But at the root of you is a new way of looking at how you manifest, right? And we've got this figure who looks like they've been through some stuff, right? But they've got a lot of wisdom. They're in a monk's robe. So there's this element of the spiritual soul energy, right? That's coming through in how you manifest. They're focusing on the feet, and what I heard is this is balancing your feet. Like you've got these resources, they're already in your energetic field, right? And you've got this sense of balance here with one in each hand, right? You're not unsteady, and that these feet, they're being grounded. Pisces rules the feet, of being able to keep walking, moving forwards, right? With this sense of balance, with this capacity to manifest from a very deep spiritual wisdom. Like it feels like those hopes and dreams aren't a pipe dream. They aren't superficial. It doesn't mean that they're not fun and enjoyable and playful, but they have a deeper resonance that allows you to see the 3D world, right? Pentacles, pages, how they observe from you're able to perceive the reality at the root of being in balance and being in that more of that spiritual alignment. As you walk your path through groups, as you walk your path in the way that you manifest your hopes and dreams, right? There's a real lovely lightness and a playfulness here, but I really do like this sort of spiritual connection of the great wisdom that we learn through so many experiences. That these resources are within you. And then we have at the crown, we've got the Devil card, right? I love this. This is such a wild image. And this figure, this figure is dropping grapes, right, is carrying, grapes represent abundance, right? And it's carrying so much abundance in the sky. So this at the root looks like it's in a cave, right? And then we have this sky energy. This is holding on to things. This is holding to things, and they're falling onto you, right? This abundance is falling onto you, right? The devil is Capricorn energy, and the devil, before it was taken over, well, the horn god, before it was taken over by the Christians, was a very fertile masculine yang energy, right, of creation, of being able to take action that brings about abundance. So we have at your crown, right, this capacity to build for the long term, right? And the source is facilitating, source is going to be providing experiences and opportunities. But this is also you flying above the fray, right, of really being able to zoom high with those hopes and dreams. And they're all carrying things. That's so fascinating in terms of the capacity for you to know that you have everything that you need within you, right, of to be able to manifest these hopes and dreams, and that there's resources around you coming in from different places, that are coming in from different frequencies, whether it's material or metaphysical. And again, that Jupiterian energy I told you in the second house of bringing you understanding of your skills, your tools, potentially bringing in more regular income, more opportunities to highlight your skills and tools. So how to work with this energy? We have the Knight of Wands. So this look, you've got this little imp here, right, that's guiding you forward, that is guiding you through the forest. So interesting, very interesting that we've got the forest either side, but instead of sort of rushing through and not driving the horse, right, of certain, having to go through the trials and tribulations in the labyrinth, and we can apply that to the real world, right? This, you're sitting tall. There's a confidence here. There's a clarity here. We've got the blue, which represents the throat chakra, of knowing your own vision, knowing your own truth, and being, you're holding the reins, even though the imp is sitting in front of you, giving you advice, giving you support. We can connect that to source. We can connect that to your guides, of you moving through the world in your truth, in your cape of power. So they're wanting you to take action from your truth and not the perceived experiences that you've had, right? There's a lot of wisdom there. And now there is, perhaps you might want to do a meditation of what is my truest hope and dream? What would raise my spirits? What is true to me and how I move through the world, how I show up in groups? Do I need to lose myself because I'm not getting that bonus? Am I able to keep on going, to keep on taking action from your instincts, because it's fire, in alignment with your truth, that you are moving through this forest with grace? Right, let's get a couple of cards from the oracle. All the decks are in the description box, by the way, if any of them take your fancy. Oh, that's too many. That's so interesting. You've got three figures who are holding things, and then two in the forest. I really feel like this is grounding you in the 3D reality, right? That if there's a situation that in the past you would have thought, oh no, this has happened, oh, I never get any luck, right, this is going on, that it's not affecting you in the same way, which is giving you back your power even more and helping you understand helping you understand all of the resources within yourself, right? And the more that you understand it internally, the more it's reflected externally. This figure is setting up very straight compared to everybody else, right? Of knowing your own truth, your own power. And in that, with that cape, they feel very protected to what the group think, right? The distortions. My third eye's throbbing while I'm talking about this, and you're following that truth from the magical realms, with that little imp saying, hey, look, there's some resources over here, there's an experience over here that's going to fulfill you. Trust in the magical reality. Don't listen to the naysayers. Remember, you got the sun at the center, which is so powerful, of this lightness of being, this radiance. It's a big yes card. And you got to trust in that as you move through the forest. This figure doesn't look like they're worried about what's going on behind the trees. They're taking their time. They're enjoying the ride. They're in good spirits of their journey. You know, if you see in that figure, this is a different frequency to those trees, and this goes back to we create our own reality. Now, I've never felt called to really bring that to the table, because I understand how triggering it is, and also I've had my own share of abandonment issues in my life that I don't want anyone left behind. But everyone, that's dismissing the I am of everybody's experiences, right? So the more that you sort of let go of that and allow your reality to shift around you without feeling like you've got to bring everybody else with you, that you've got to save the planet, that inherently will raise the consciousness of the collective. Because if you cultivate this reality in your truth, in your own vision, there's a lot in the oracle cards, which will be the last reading that I do, around speaking your truth and knowing the integrity of your communication with the magic of your reality. So, you know, rather than the dampening down of those spirits, there's an elevation of that, of you coming back to the truth of your own frequency, that's allowing you to be in this little protective bubble as you move through the world, and then bring all those resources together to elevate your experience without feeling shame or worry that, oh, I'm doing okay, but no, people around you, or maybe the bigger collective, you're concerned about that. This is not what this reading is really feeling to me, that it's something that it's counterintuitive, it's counterproductive. To how you build your hopes and dreams. You got a bonus card. So let's get on with it. First up, we have number 55. Let me get the book out. So, hi, yes, hi. I'd love for everything to stay the same. Imagine how archaic things would be if the paradigm never shifted. Sometimes stuff needs to be moved around. It may appear worse at first, but when the dust settles, you will be grateful for this new configuration. Right? So we can get, as kind of bringing in what I was talking about in terms of allowing yourself to believe and know in your soul that you create your own reality, that miracles are available, that we can hold on to the old paradigms, the denser frequencies, where we block ourselves from that, because it can feel very comfortable and it can take the agency away from us, and we can feel safe and secure because of that. And that there can be disruptions around when we shift our frequency and when we start to create, and this is telling you not to stay in that same space. There's an element again of movement. You know, the sense of, you know, the really in the unconscious spaces of not valuing yourself, can feel really safe and secure because it may have defined who you are, of not letting go. And then we have communication. The frequency of communication supports our ability to exchange information in many different forms. It reminds us to run every piece of information, both incoming and outgoing, through our heart, the center of our truth, to stay in the flow of source and balanced exchange. This feels linked into this in terms of the groupthink, right? Of, say someone is disparaging or says, oh, you wouldn't, like, maybe it was when you were younger, or that you will never be able to manifest your hopes and dreams, right? The fact that you're in this cloak of blue, which is linked into the throat chakra, genuinely feels like you're shedding a lot of distortions around the information that you're picking up in the world, in reality, that you're able to figure out what's the distortion and what's the truth. Communication is the process. I'm getting a tickle in my throat chakra as I speak about this. Communication is the process of sharing information between a sender and a recipient. For humans, this usually takes place through spoken or written words, gestures, behavior, or touch, but it can also happen through the more subtle languages like chemistry and energetics. Communication is at the core of all relations, whether interpersonal between people or the way in which our inner world and body talks to us. While words have predominantly been the way humankind has communicated for most of its modern history, the new energy invites us, even requires us, to develop our abilities to receive, translate and share the messages that arise from the depths of us. Most of these messages will emerge as feelings and intuitive thought, and we might find that the words we have been using for so long hold far more complex and subtle energies than we ever imagined. And that leads to realizing more expanded and subtle meanings as well. The dolphins that swirl inside the 4 circles of this activation are representative of the mastery of relations. They support the awakening and development of subtle communications while reminding us to keep a playful attitude as we learn these new skills. Meanwhile, the number 4 represents the form-based world in which we live. It is a reminder of the importance of applying all that we learn to the reality we collectively choose to create on this plane. The triangles in the middle represent the inner union and balance between the feminine and masculine. The upward large triangle symbolizes the connection to source, and the abundant blues indicate an open throat chakra. So clear and unrestricted that communication flows effortlessly. Greens represent the presence of an open heart, allowing love and compassion to pour into the external without restrictions and boundaries. The turquoise represents the higher heart, the place where the energies from the heart and those from the throat merge into the loving expression of truth. And the surrounding deep purple spaces represents the origin of clear, insightful perception through an open third eye. It also feels like how you communicate with yourself, right, in a loving, good-spirited way. Try this. Take a moment to go inside and feel what your body is communicating to you. Is it happy? Is it sad? Is there any pain? There is a great message in pain. Are you listening to that communication? How do you communicate with the outer world? Are you kind and wise with your words when you speak with others? Are you sending positive messages to yourself? So we've got some frenetic energy going on here, right? Of rushing through the chaos of the disruptions of the world. Like it's something you've needed to go through, but I feel like there's been a sort of a dysregulation in the nervous system, right? In the way that you understand and you perceive. You've learned some lessons, but I feel like this is a regrouping and a resetting of this more open expansion of your own truth, and what you've learned and what you've grown with it. This is just soothing that with the sun and bringing in these resources for you to understand you with this heightened level of communication with reality. You're able to understand where those resources are within you and externally and be guided towards them. With a little synchronicities from the imp. Okay, number 42. The more you create, the more the universe is. The universe needs your creativity if it's ever going to grow into its full self. From our tiny perspectives, there's already more than enough content, but the universe is hungry for more. After all, that's why it made you. So it wants you to work with your skills and tools. It wants you to value yourself and create and enjoy that process of hoping and dreaming and playing with that and really engaging in the expansion energy of working with you and the co-creation with source in order to create things. Right, my loves, my lovely Tauruses, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it resonated. If it did, hit that like button. Leave me a comment. I love to hear from you. I really do. It brings me a lot of joy. But other than that, Taurus, be good to yourselves. Be good to those around you. Safe travels and be well until we meet again.